Good day, mate. We are off for the 2022 Australian Grand Prix. What a season it has been so far. Hoove, I'm just going to let you take the floor right off because we had a tough break for you last week. Poor Sergio.
It was
go off.
It was a tough Sunday. Going into last race, we obviously had our predictions. I'm the Sergio guy around here. I want Red Bull to win, and I want Sergio to be a world drivers champion. And I thought he was going to take an inaugural win off his first pole position after 100 or I don't know, it was at least over 115 Grand Prix starts. Brilliant lap, mega lap, super fast. And, you know, Latifi giveth and Latifi taketh. Because, man, he took that from Red Bull right there. I mean, gave it to Max, took that from Sergio. But, you know, that's all I got.
As a producer, I'm going to credit myself for knowing to pass the ball to you and just let you get that off your chest to start the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
and that's all I had to say on the matter.
It was a great race to start, right? In our minds, I think we all thought Sergio has this. He looked like he had the pace. Charles was there, but without that safety car, you got to think Sergio is able to pull it off, unless something else drastic happens. If we're just talking a regular race, no incident, we're probably going to be looking at what? A Sergio, then would Max have even made it up in the second? Do we know? Or
everything maybe. After that safety car, I couldn't tell you the rest of that race.
Maybe
we could have seen Lewis up there. Psych.
Yeah, but
I mean that's.
Go ahead, Chip.
Yeah, no, sorry. I mean, I was just gonna say, listen. At the end of the day, like. Were we not saying this at the end of last episode that, you know, chances of something happening during this race, you know, and of course it's going to be Latifi to pull something off to, you know, just ruin the entire thing. You know, it's our new Mazepin here, but like, you know, at the end of the day, like that track is not, you know, that's like a little death pit. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. It's way too, I mean, it's absolutely nuts. So like, if it wasn't that, I don't know if we can safely say, oh, something else wouldn't have happened. You know, I mean, maybe it's like, I mean, it's a tough spot being in first there almost, you know, in a weird way, because you're kind of set up.
Yeah, I think the drivers.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
The drivers definitely think of this as probably one of the more dangerous tracks on the circuit. That's for sure.
I mean, we've gone now 2 years in a row where we've seen very similar results. You know, this year we had 13 finishers. And pretty much the same results in 2021. I mean, nobody wants to see crashes. We expect that we're going to see one, but nobody wants that. I mean, like Mick Schumacher's crash to me scared the living crap out of me.
That was nuts. Yeah, and then thank God he's okay for sure. Yeah,
Halo saves lives.
Yeah, but I think at this point in the season, it's probably clear that like Red Bull, if they haven't caught up yet, they're going to be able to catch up. And then we're playing like a game of inches, I think, all season, unless, you know, Ferrari regresses moving forward here and Red Bull is able to, you know, use their manpower, but Ferrari's got plenty of manpower over there too. So I think we're set up for a very good battle between those two guys. And then the question becomes, where does Merc land? George Russell with a pretty good result this weekend. Lewis has his worst weekend in as far as qualifying goes. How many years?
Since 2017 when he didn't finish in Brazil.
Yeah.
But that was a crash. Like he wasn't able to do it. So like just being outpaced, I don't know the last time that happened.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about Mercedes. They were testing so much of that car that Lewis had. He said in like the post interview of that, it was like he had no control of the rear tires, and I don't know exactly what they did, but they were changing something with the rear wing. And I mean, his pace was way off, but like that was a gamble that they took, and obviously he paid for it. I'm just stoked that he was still able to, you know, recover and score a point. Granted, a lot of people crashed, but you know, I'm still not worried about him and the competitiveness between him and Russell. And I'm honestly, you know, we look at constructors' points right now, 38-37. Granted, you know, Red Bull has been dealt some very brutal cards, but it's a game of strategy, and I think we're going to see a closer second place constructors race than we're expecting right now.
Okay.
I'm kind of with Carl, not entirely, because Lewis had the same car as George that weekend. He just didn't have the pace.
That's where I was going to
Carl,
go.
you could read all you want, and I'll prove you right, because
Mm-hmm.
they had the same car. They both tested some floors. They had the same car. George just understood it. So you could take that one. But I think this season is going to be a development war. And we've seen Ferrari lose development wars like 2018, 2019. We've seen Red Bull lose development wars like, 2016 through last year. And we've seen Mercedes win development wars. So I think Mercedes, we talked about those 5-6 races, and I'm going to keep at it. So
yeah,
I'm going to say 4 more races. That Mercedes, I think they're going to be in it.
Yeah.
I think Ferrari probably have a little bit more speed than Red Bull, and I think they're hiding a little bit of it. Some tracks favor others. We don't really know who favors who in the new regs, but I don't know. We got a real non-street track this weekend. Let's see it.
Yeah,
I mean, you two are also discussing, okay, is this a George versus Lewis thing, and then is this a Mercedes, can they get back into it thing? Like, I definitely think Mercedes has the potential to get back into it for sure. Now, I agree. They were in the same car, Carl. George outpaced that. George outpaced Lewis this weekend, like no tomorrow, or this past couple weekends ago. But I don't know. So it's like, yes, there's a conversation of, yes, can Mercedes get back into it after 5 to 6 races? I think you're nuts if you say that you got a team of 1,000 engineers over there to sit there and figure it out. But who will be the top performing driver with them? I mean, listen, as so far, it's been a toss up. There's no doubt. So we'll see.
I think it's going to be. We know that Red Bull and Merck, the engineers over there, can make in-season improvements. Ferrari clearly developed this car a lot last year. Now let's see if they can keep up with the two big guys in this season and as they make big strides. Or did they start with the better car and then the big two guys catch up, and by the end of the season, Ferrari's in there.
When we heard what Carlos Sainz was saying after post Jeddah, the high speed corners for him, he didn't have the control that he wanted in the car. And everyone loves Carlos Sainz. I mean, that guy is consistency to the T. But I think by the end of this upcoming weekend, we're going to see the drivers standing switch to Charles, Max, probably Carlos. And then it's just going to be the battle of the Mercedes, kind of seeing where they fall into that mix going into it. But I think we're going to see a transition of driver standings quickly moving around.
Yeah.
Before we move on, can we just quickly talk about, I don't know if you're about to move on, Kel, or not, but at least on the subject of Red Bull and Ferrari, that race between Max and Charles was pretty damn sick.
Every time exciting. They go at it, I think it's going to be pretty damn sick.
I think
we can.
If that's a sign of what we're going to be expecting for the rest of the season, that was fun, and both of them got out of those cars dude, dapped each other up. That was awesome.
I think it's showing what the new regs could do, but I think it's also showing how you play into it. You don't want to be the guy going first into that DRS zone because you're losing it every time. And Australia has 4 DRS zones this weekend.
It's going to be a
4
lot of swapping.
DRS zones. We're going to see a lot of swapping everywhere, I think. So I'm excited for that.
I love it.
Yeah. And we'll quickly touch on the rest of the field. As far as the midfield goes, you have 3 teams that are just bundled up, and we just really don't know. We really don't know. You have Alpine, you have AlphaTauri, you have Haas. And where those 3 teams are going to end up at the end of the season, I really couldn't tell you.
I think Alpine has the best driver pairing, probably. And probably, I don't know, AlphaTauri has the support of Red Bull, but they have a good team around them. Renault's giant. They're the only one that run their own engine. Nobody else is running the Renault engine. And I mean, they've double scored every race so far. They're they're doing great. I love them. Haas are obviously looking great talking point, but we need Mick needs to score points or they're not going to be in that race. So, and Alpha's car has been unreliable. Yuki's car didn't start the other day, didn't make it to the line. I don't know.
Yeah, and then the rest of the field's been pretty underwhelming, to be honest. So
Right. I mean, so it's just so early, man. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like they can. It's so early. Like these guys can figure this out on with the snap of a finger. Make
Right.
one switch, and these cars could be right back in it. So it's like, right
the
now
storylines
it's
will
not
come.
looking
The storylines
exactly
will come.
like these storylines will start to progress, and but right now, I mean, I'm still trying to cope with the fact that Haas is like even a talking point. I really am. I still don't believe my own eyes.
We talked about how they had a shit car 2021. Why? Because it was the car from 2020. They didn't invest in it. We talked about it last year. You can look it up. We talked about it. And we said they could be good this year. They're pretty good this year so far.
Yeah. I mean, look at it. Yep. Absolutely. It's incredible.
Yeah. And then before we hop into this weekend, some pretty big news. F1's coming to Vegas. And I saw a pretty cool clip online. I think it was a few years back of reporters asking Danny and Lewis if you could have 3 things in F1, what do you want? And Danny's first response was a race in Vegas. So a straight down the Vegas Strip is going to be pretty fucking cool.
Yep. And then Lewis, I think, said in that same interview, they were both together. He's like, yeah, I want to race in Miami.
Yep, exactly.
So, I mean, the only thing that I was seeing a lot of negative feedback on the Vegas track itself. It's like it's a pretty boring track if you look at it from it's literally like 4 corners.
Yeah, I mean, that's how they got to do it. I guess that straight is the longest straight on the calendar by almost double the next longest one. So they're going to hit top speeds they're going to hit speeds they've probably never hit before in F1, like top speeds in a straight. It's going to be crazy.
They made that race just for that straight. Like literally that.
You're going past the Strip.
That might be too fast to
overtake. It is
F1.
Like the shot of those cars coming down the Las Vegas Strip. Those single shots are worth so much.
You got the fountain going off in the background, and it's going to be unbelievable.
Priceless.
Yeah. I don't know.
Some deep pockets if we're going to attend that race.
You're the closest one, Carl. You could drive. Or no, you got an hour flight.
I ain't making that drive, boys. I've done that drive.
Yeah.
No, too miserable.
We'll be there at some point. Probably not anytime soon, but at some point.
I mean, Danny Rexel interview I thought it was pretty funny. It was like, "Oh, I'm gonna retire. Oh, I'm gonna."
He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna retire.
I'm gonna postpone."
Yeah. Did you guys see that? I know this is kind of off topic, but you guys saw that, the whole Horner this week kind of threw a little bit of shade over at Danny Rick with that. Hey, he turned down a stupid amount of money.
Danny said it wasn't a stupid amount of money, which
I know. I don't. Yeah, it's just interesting seeing that because Horner was pretty adamant about it. Like we cost him a sick contract.
Yeah, kind of out of left field.
I kind of feel bad for him, but honestly, you can't run away from.
No, I mean, I actually almost did feel bad for him up until reading that. It's like, all right, dude, you kind of, you had the shot. I understand, he doesn't want to take back seat. He's Danny Rick, but
prove it. Beat Max.
Exactly. Right.
So,
not happening.
Probably can't. I mean, we're Danny Rick guys love him, but Max Verstappen is unbelievable.
Yeah, you're not beating old Max. No way.
And speaking of Danny Rick, I'm rocking the merch. It's going to be a very interesting weekend. I think that's a big storyline. Not a bunch of hype around this race other than really Danny. Like we're at the point in the season where I don't want to say it's a lull, but things are just building. Things are building. And once we hit 7, 8, the energy is probably going to pick up a bit. But we're just kind of figuring things out right now.
We need a McLaren to figure things out right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude. I mean, do you think it's realistic? Like this weekend, just Danny Rick home race. Do you think it's realistic to even expect points? Just somehow pull something out of his ass for his home crowd.
I expect points in Orlando.
I don't
Yeah,
even know
maybe.
if I do.
I do.
At this
I don't
point,
even know if I
do.
expect points out of Lando, man. Honestly.
Endo scored last week, but
I frankly
Yeah,
don't
but
think the pressure. Like, so let's think about this. Like, this race hasn't been in Australia for 2 years, thanks to freaking COVID. And it's like Danny's back. I mean, what happened last time when Danny was there? I mean, he didn't make it to turn 1.
yeah.
Blew off his front wing on the opening 200 yards. Like, blew that off by going into the grass. It was like, I just so much pressure on his shoulders, and it's just like, I don't know. I wouldn't expect anything crazy out of Danny Rick this weekend. Sadly, like, everybody loves him, but I'm gonna put Lando like 8th in the points.
Yeah, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any other big storylines going this weekend? Like I said, you look online and there's nothing huge. I know Merck said they're making one of their biggest changes, so that'll be interesting to see how much pace they pick up this weekend.
I think all the big changes are coming Imola for Red Bull and Ferrari. I don't think Merck is doing anything huge this weekend, but they're going to have a big Imola and then Silverstone. I don't think anything crazy different.
Did they expand upon that? I didn't even hear that. Wait a minute. So Merck said that they're
They said they're making their biggest hardware update that they have this season, hardware change, but who knows what that means to the extent of it. So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, I think teams are just kind of in the learning phase right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
So
I think this weekend we could see some fun, like some interesting things, especially. I mean, it is going to be a Mercedes-Benz weekend. Like, this is a very important opportunity.
A Mercedes weekend.
All right. Let's get into predictions.
It's going to be a Mercedes.
If you're gonna,
you can do your rant in a sec.
Because like they're announcing this.
You have to,
no, wait. Do your rant in a sec.
If you're gonna do this, back this up. Then with predictions, then if you want to say that it's going to be a Mercedes weekend, then now we're going to say who's going to be on the podium. Then you should back up a prediction that the Mercedes is going to be on a podium if it's a Mercedes weekend, right?
Yeah, I'm 100% banking on it. You got Checo and Lewis Hamilton at same odds for this weekend. And, if you look back in the history of this race, you got a lot of Mercedes in the mix. They know how to do well at this race. They know how to set up a car for Australia.
Carl, they dominated for the past 7 years. That hasn't been happening.
It's different. It's different. Yeah, it's different.
Dude, Sebastian Vettel's won here twice in a Ferrari. So,
Ferrari was good those years.
I'm putting Lewis in second.
Okay, well then we will start with podium this week. Then Carl, give us your official podium, and you got to give me like 1, 2, 3 because we're gonna keep points. We'll figure that out after this.
Lewis in 2, Charles in 3rd.
Max, Lewis,
Charles. Wow.
Okay.
That's incredible.
Whoever wants to go after that, it's going to be hard for me to think after that.
I mean, yeah, I'll go. I have Max 1, Charles 2, and been toying with it, but kind of going back and forth. But I'm going to go with Sergio 3. I think he's getting on the podium this weekend. So
okay. Cool.
I think we got Red Bull 1, 2. We got Max and Sergio, and we got Carlos in 3rd because I think Charles he makes a dummy boy move. He makes an I am stupid move this weekend.
Okay, his first one
of the season.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm gonna flip that on you. That's not gonna happen. Charles and Max are just gonna keep going back and forth here. It's gonna go Charles 1, Max 2. I'm touring with Sergio or Carlos. I think it's a Ferrari weekend. We go Carlos. And our top 6 flyers. This gets interesting. No one hit last week. Chip had Kevin Magnussen, and Carl had Alonso, and Luke had Pierre, and I had Lando way off. Let's hope we can get it this week. You can dig back to that well. Don't be afraid to dig back to that well. I'm going to go with Fernando Alonso. If Ocon was able
Okay.
to get top 6 last weekend, Fernando could do it this weekend.
Valtteri Bottas.
Okay.
Easy.
That's a kind of a long shot. but
Applaud that pick.
Yes. He's a good driver. And it's
He's
shown.
won here. He was the last person to win in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
I like
That's
that.
true. I'm gonna take, and this was my boy last year all the time. I'm gonna go with Pierre this week in the top 6.
He needs it. Needs it bad.
He's too good, man. My boy Gasly, he's got it.
You know, Helmut Marko the other day was interviewed and they were asking about Pierre's contract and they said, well, we need to deal a contract with Pierre while he's still on contract because if we don't, he may walk and we don't want
Mhm.
that. So I think
Love that.
they're pushing for Pierre.
They're pushing for him to
2023.
take Sergio's seat, dude.
And I think he's got to show it this year, but I think it's his to lose.
He has to show it.
Again.
I totally agree. They're like, dude, just we're handing it to you. Just finish.
Yeah.
All right.
And hey,
Carl.
maybe Sergio gets another seat somewhere, but yeah, that's for
Yeah.
another day.
Probably Saturday. We can visit that down the road. Carl, you look like there's a lot of pondering going on.
Carlos Sainz in 6th.
Wait,
That's not
Yes.
what we're doing here.
That's fine. No, let him do it. Let him do it. That's the top 6.
I'm
So wait.
I'm
Like
putting
in
Carlos
6th place or top 6?
Okay, so how we're gonna do top 6 is
Sixth place.
it's worth a point. So if you get that right, I will give you a point. Is essentially how that's gonna work.
Okay.
I'm not
So
gonna
he
give you
gets
extra
fifth.
points for predicting
fine.
Carlos.
So I'm taking
place.
Putting it like
Carlos
this.
Sainz. Here's my reason. So I'm taking Carlos Sainz in 6th, Checo in 5th. George Russell is going to learn how to be a B driver and play defense all damn race and take 4th.
Whoa. What?
Yep.
George Russell disrespect needs to stop immediately.
So
This is getting out of control.
Nah, he's going to play defense.
all right. So let's figure out how we want to do points, right? So we have podium and then top 6. I think you should get a point for the race winner. I think you should get 2 points if you predict the podium perfectly.
Yeah.
What if we did like, if you predict the winner, 3 points. Predict second, 2 points. And if you predict third, 1 point.
But then no.
I don't know.
Like a law of averages, and it's like, oh, I got 4 points this week. And it's like, all right.
We don't need to decide this now.
I was going to say we could also discuss
Right.
this while we're not recording the podcast to do this
Sure.
the right way.
Shows our lack of preparedness.
we should probably have that figured out.
That's fine.
So
But we're
we'll
keeping
announce the
standings
official
now.
points next week.
Last week, I will say, Chip, you had Max winning. You had Carlos and Charles flipped in the wrong spot. Carl, you had Carlos winning. He came in 3rd. You had Charles in 3rd, so you swapped those. So decent performance. Who just had Charles in 2nd? I hit it 100%. I had Max, Charles, Carlos.
Nice.
Good one for me. Let's see if we can repeat it. But we'll definitely keep a tab on that. We'll figure out what the winner gets. Probably nothing.
Mhm.
Probably
So
nothing.
just to get this clear, Carl has Carlos finishing in 6th place, not top
I mean-
6, in 6th place.
Yeah, so he only gets points if that
Okay.
happens. He can't get top
That is
6.
that's a
because of course
wild.
he
If that
should, even though-
happens, that's all I'm going to be thinking about the whole race. I'm going to be doing it
mean,
at 1
it would-
a.m. sitting there watching that race.
That's
Dude,
another thing.
I kind of like
yeah.
what Carl did with the top 6 thing. Not to say that we should do it, but that should
Pick
be
the
how we
spot?
treat that's how we should treat the regular offenders if we do think they belong. If it's like a crazy race, it's like a
Okay.
bold pick,
I agree. It doesn't
Yeah.
always have to be like who should be an underdog,
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, maybe we
you
can
could
do
say
it
Max,
too-
I think, is going to finish 6th place or something. I mean, it seems
Well-
wild, but
Yeah, maybe
Right.
we could do it. Maybe we could do it. You get a point if you pick a top. I don't know, because then it gets crazy because there's technically 6 guys on top teams, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna get chaotic. I just think this weekend you're gonna. I think I'm very excited because I truly think we're gonna see a battle of 3 constructors, and they're all gonna be kind of separated. Like you're gonna see probably like the 3 top out there. We all know who those 3 are right now, and then I think it's gonna be a battle of the secondary drivers for those teams on and that's all where the stuff comes into strategy. Like, all right, do you stay on and do you we know there's less of a toe in these new cars, but I think that's where we're going to see a lot of strategy work in this race. Like who was saying 4 DRS zones, like how can, if Lewis is leading, how can we get George to give him a toe? How can we use any kind of, advantage to or any ability to our advantage in this kind of race? Kind of what we saw last year with Checo doing an absolute perfect job to slow down Lewis. That was just
I'm excited.
Perfection.
I'm excited. It's gonna be a late night race.
I was
Very
going to
late
say,
night
we
race.
discussed that. I mean, geez, this is insane.
If we can make it happen, we'll be live on Twitch, maybe YouTube. If we can stream, we're gonna try and make that happen. More content, why not? And then we're gonna maybe try and get a logo. Let's make it official.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to ask this, who's going to be this weekend's fuck up?
The asshole of the weekend.
Yeah, asshole of the weekend.
I like
Outside of
award. Yeah, we
Latifi.
should have an
Latifi's
asshole of
been
the
taking
weekend.
this a little bit too long.
The
I
asshole
mean,
of the weekend.
I want to say
Yuki.
Latifi.
Yuki.
I hate Latifi right now.
Too
It's gonna be
easy
Yuki.
asshole of the weekend so far, honestly, because Yuki makes an ass out of himself a lot.
If Mazepin was still here, we'd all just say Mazepin.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Lawrence Stroll or Lance Stroll.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Lance Stroll
He
too.
hasn't
He's gonna
fallen
make an
shit. He
ass
could
out
pull
of
some shit.
himself. Yeah.
I'm
like that.
excited. When I watch these recap videos, it's just when they go to his audience, like he just pulled in front of me like an idiot, and it's just like,
Oh, I know.
hey,
He's such
why
a
is he
pussy.
a good driver and defend? Like,
Well, the Otmar, whatever the hell his last name is, the guy who left Aston to go to Alpine, he said the only reason he left is because Lawrence Stroll has no idea how to run a racing team. He's like, that guy has no idea what he's doing. So look for them in the coming years to not be a racing team.
How
Or
about we
Seb.
all just agree that we don't want to be the asshole of the week? That's what we don't want in his home race. That's the one thing that
Don't
I
even
would
bring
hope
it up.
for
Is that
it's
juju
scary,
out of the
dude.
world.
I mean,
Get
but
the
I
juju
think
out of the world.
it's worth just saying. I mean, dude, we're not talking about a great McLaren right now. Our boy's not doing very well. So, there's stuff going on here. Let's just be honest. Us and the world need to come to terms with the fact that shit's going down in McLaren.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at right now, like driver standings and constructor standings, I'll just take a look at driver standings. I mean, our bottom 3, disregarding, Aston and Williams, that's a really cool tight race, between McLaren, AlphaTauri, and Alfa Romeo. I think we'll see Alfa Romeo kind of jump ahead though this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Bottas, man.
Right.
Bottas been ripping.
Made a lot of bold predictions. I think it's going to be a very fun late night race. Good season, just going to keep rolling. So we'll be back. When's the next race? What do we got next?
I don't know. What is the next?
Is it a back-to-back?
race?
I wouldn't imagine they're doing a back-to-back with
See.
Australia. No, we don't race until April 24th.
Whoa.
Yeah, we come back April 24th for Imola. That's going to be a lot of team upgrades. And then after that, Miami.
And then Miami, right? Yeah, Miami soon after that.
Welcome to Miami.
I've signed up for about
a good
9 different
here.
giveaways to tickets for that. So
to go. Hell
crossed. Yeah.
You should
But
just.
then I found out
Just
we're
go.
seeing Tom Segura that weekend. So we'll see.
All right, fellas. I will see you soon. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Let's have a good one.
It's gonna be a
Let's